So it's the end of 2025. The economy's crazy, you're falling behind. You know trading is hard, but you want to give it a shot. You want to earn some extra income to maybe even make a career out of it. Maybe it's something you've always wanted to do, or maybe you just feel like you need to do it to keep up with the fact that life is so much more expensive now. I get it, but I'm here to tell you it is no joke. Money is not easy to come by. And maybe you've heard of some of your bros making some easy money out there, someone who has told you about some stock or options play. You can't help but want to take some swings in there. But after being in this industry for 13 years and seeing many people come and go, I can tell you that there are no sustained strokes of genius. So, coming into 2026, there are 6 questions you need to answer before you get right in the mix. That's what I want you to focus on here, to start changing your life, to battle some of the hardest markets and players in the world, but to come out on top. Most people will avoid these questions. Ultimately, they, one, don't even know to ask them, but two, don't want to face the actual true answers. If they do so, that means they might actually be facing some reality and taking responsibility for their decisions and their financial outcomes. And honestly, most are too afraid to do that. If you are, I would just turn this video off now. If, however, you are ready to truly define some things about yourself and what you're looking for out of trading, you have a good chance of being one of the few people to actually make it. So feel free to write stuff down along the way, build this story for yourself, and see how it all fits together. At the end, I'm going to tell you all the answers to these questions for me and how it's helped me over the last decade in this space. First, your history. Let's just quickly review your history in the space. Are you brand new to markets and to risk? Have you dabbled? Have you been doing this for years? If you're just starting, good. A clean slate, plenty of mistakes to be made and lots to learn, but no baggage. For the ones who have been around the block, what have you learned? What are your results like? Why do you think they're that way? What obvious errors and internal struggles have you faced? Why do you think that is? What has it felt like to win and lose money? And are you more optimistic at this point or pessimistic about your chances? Who have you surrounded yourself with over your time trading and investing? What types of trading have you done? When did you feel at your peak, your best? What about during the dark hours when you felt like shit? Did you blame markets or did you accept the results? Either way, you're here, you're watching this video, so you still have a chance to do something great from here on out. All right, still here? Second question, what is your why? Why are you trading? What is the true reason? Is it you just want some extra income? Are you in a tough financial position or some debt and you want a way out? Do you want to be a professional? Maybe you hate your job and want to trade stocks instead. Or you just here because you see big numbers around the TV and you think, I want a piece of that. I need some of that. Are you seeing it maybe as a fun form of entertainment or as a serious thing that you feel attracted to and maybe passionate about and are made for? And did somebody tell you to trade, so now you're just looking into it? Let me stop really quickly and tell you, by the way, there are no wrong answers. I'm a firm believer that anybody can actually make it in this space, but they need an understanding of who they are and why they're here, and how can this best fit a process to them. Most just don't know or think about any of this stuff. They just kind of prefer to come in and spray and pray and hope it works out. Third, your risk appetite. Have you ever won or lost money? How so? And what was it in? Maybe you've been trading for a couple years and understand why I might ask that question. But maybe you've never even lost $100 and only understand making money from a consistent paycheck. When it comes to winning and losing, like what's your initial reaction? What's in your mind? Does losing money make you scared and irrational and trigger you emotionally? Maybe you grew up in a household that was full of frugal people and instilled a saving and scarcity mindset. Is that still there? Or have you been around abundance, successful people who view money as a tool that's easily available, comes and goes, and it's more of just a game that never ends. It's more of a marathon than a sprint. If you win, do you feel good? Do you feel like a god? Do you press your luck? Or do you instantly feel like, oh, I don't deserve that, and maybe I got to figure out a way to defend this and protect it at all costs? When you heard the word volatility, does it make you cringe? Or does that make you think, oh yeah, hell yeah, take me to that. I want more of it. What's the most you've won or lost in percentage terms of your net worth? Then what happened? Do you see how this all ties in to starting to trade? Fourth is your time horizon. What is your preferred time horizon when it comes to trading or investing? When you think about all this, are you approaching it from the perspective of long-term investments, where you dubiously study an opportunity to the absolute bone, find the perfect spot to enter, and then hold it for years or maybe hold it forever? Or are you thinking, F that, I'm here to gunsling. I want my trades to dance on the 5-minute chart. I want to be in and out of multiple things at once and be locked into my computer with the news flow every day. Maybe you want to swing trade, positions that are going to be a couple weeks, a couple months. Now, think, does that make sense for your actual life? Are you working a job? Do you have a family? Have lots of free time around your computer? Are you tapped in, or you just want to set something and forget it? Can you see yourself holding through peaks and valleys with high conviction and no impact on your length of time that you're going to hold that? Or are you trying to be in and out, fading sentiment and ebbs and flows of the market with the noise? Again, there's no right answer here, but if you're a long-term investor, right, who doesn't love risk or volatility or find yourself, doing anything that you're not comfortable with, well, buying a meme coin that your friend told you about that goes up or down 50% of the time, that might not make much sense to you and would make sense to stay away from that. Fifth question you need to kind of think about is, what asset classes or investment vehicles are the things that feel right to you? What do you like? Maybe you don't know this yet since you're brand new, and that's okay. You'll have to try different things. Stocks, crypto, futures, options, bonds, currencies, commodities, AI, the frontier tech, whatever. After some time, you'll have a better answer to this question. And for more seasoned people who have tested a bunch of different assets, you're likely going to have an affinity towards certain things. Good, something likely fits. However, how have your results been in that space? Good, bad? Do you think the asset classes of interest help or go against your personality type? And the other questions that we've started asking. Maybe that's a yes, and you should really dial into those in 2026 and explore other surrounding options there. But maybe it's been the wrong place for you all along, and it's time for you to change to something else. Every asset has a different flow, a different volatility profile, different participants and liquidity providers, a different reason for existing, and different execution options. Answering this starts to cross-pollinate all the other questions above. So our objective here, if you couldn't tell, is to start aligning all of our answers into a cohesive outline for how we approach all of this individually. Something out there does exist that makes sense for you specifically, and it's all your job to go and find that. Just be open-minded to trying new things along the way, because maybe something looms that is your missing piece to a profitable puzzle. Last, sixth, is your information sources and your trading circle. Given the speed and noise of the flow of information in today's day and age, figuring out how this properly fits into your trading framework is vitally important. Are you a fast action trader who relies on up-to-date information, sentiment, opinions from large talking heads, and ample liquidity? Well, then your sources better be dialed. You better have a great idea of how to see things in a very efficient fashion from reliable sources and not be in a complete echo chamber. But maybe you're a long-term trader or an investor, and actually, news sources and narratives, switching and regime change, it's all counterproductive, and it might make you react emotionally and too trustingly, and it could scare you out of your positions. In this case, a lot of front-end conviction work and a removal of other information sources might actually be more beneficial to you. Who is it that you're talking to about trading? What's your close circle look like? Are they winning traders? Are they experienced or early in their journey as well? Do you rely too much on their opinions and their suggestions? Do you review ideas and execution together, or just discuss the things that you've won at? Do they care about your progress, or do you all just BS with each other to pass time? Again, there's no judgment here. Just look at this all objectively and ask if this has been helpful or hurtful to your results. Are you constantly trying to connect and build that out? Or are you actually more of a loner type who needs to get away from others to think clearly? Look, there's actually many benefits and drawbacks to having a group. If you're too easily swayed and are reliant on others without a confidence of your own ability to perform and execute, you may find that this is actually an unproductive setup. Maybe it's time for a change in the new year. Maybe you flourish with others. I don't know, it's different for everyone. So, what have we asked ourselves? What is your history in trading? What is your why? What is your appetite for risk? What is your time horizon? Which assets or trading vehicles do you prefer? And how do you source your information and who do you surround yourself with? Now, I get it. That has nothing to do with actual trade execution. This isn't about entering at a certain chart level, looking at a certain asset, and finding some dream back-tested setup that you might watch other videos on. This is about you. Not many people take the time to dive deep on this, to align everything so that they can confidently say, this is who I am, and this is the direction that makes all the sense in the world for me, and will therefore give me the greatest chance to win over time, which, after all, is the goal in markets. Because remember, these are the hardest markets in the world. It is designed to wreck people. So you need to approach this clinically and set your goals towards the areas that make you feel as comfortable and excited as possible. Now, I told you at the start that I would run through my answers. So here they are. What's my trading history? Well, I've traded futures for over 11 years. 9 of those were profitable after 2 years of losing. I've traded through 4 crypto cycles, and I've dabbled in stocks and options as well. I also played poker professionally prior to that, learned a lot about winning and losing, bankroll management, pattern recognition, and making a lot of decisions in real time in high pressure environments. What's my why? Well, this is my sole income. This is the money-making area I'm most passionate about, and I dedicate my whole work life to being as ready as I can to take advantage of market opportunities that come to me. My schedule allows for that, even though I also make note to be balanced in opposites. I raise a family, I exercise, I sleep and eat well. I want to win at this game, and I thrive on finding asymmetric bets and ways to try and beat the system to never have to work a 9 to 5 again. My appetite for risk, it might actually sound like I love risk, and I actually don't. I'm fairly naturally risk averse. I'm from an area where there wasn't much abundance, and everybody kind of hated the idea of risking money. To combat this, I look for very asymmetric spots. I never want to risk too much. I hate the idea of ruin, starting over, and snowballing into some catastrophic thoughts. So I view risk reward as my number one most important trading task that has the most impact for me. From there, I can more clearly, when I know the downside risks and what can go wrong, execute. My time horizon, I'm mixed here. I have some things that I plan on holding forever. Large conviction assets that I don't pay as much attention to when it comes to narrative and price change. But I'll also trade in the day and take some swing trades. I personally like it all, and I have success and failures across the board. Which specific asset classes? Well, I was a specialist in futures, trading order books for a long time. So I really leaned into that, as most of my best performance would come from there. But I also really love and I'm attracted to crypto and the price movement there. Stocks and options, they don't get me as excited, but recently have been more interesting as the frontier tech like AI starts to move into kind of that volatile price discovery, which I tend to like and thrive in. And where do I get my information and my trading circle? Well, I have a very refined X feed. I have certain podcasts I listen to, talking heads I keep up to date on, as well as a couple newsletters. I'm pretty tapped into the narratives, the sentiment, and the noise because I personally have the time and the energy to do so. My circle of friends and colleagues has also been carefully curated over many years, and I have conversations and people that I can trust and lean on. I can rely on them as great sources of information and to be strong in the areas that I'm weak at. Okay, cool. So what do I do with that information? Well, let's funnel it down. My history leans towards the ability to trade in and across all markets. So I monitor many different things, looking for that volatility, that asymmetric opportunity across the futures, crypto, and stocks. My why is that it's my sole income and I'm passionate about it, so I can be tapped in at all times across this wide array of different things. Right now, I love Bitcoin, AI, and certain futures like precious metals and indexes, maybe some Mag 7 here and there. My time horizon, it's long and short, so I manage my strategy accordingly. For instance, I don't trade much Bitcoin. because I look to add it in advantageous spots and hold it forever. But for high flying AI and Mag 7 stuff, I'll focus on day trades or swing trades. And if those asset classes change, I'll just shift to other things, which I can because I have experience elsewhere. I'm chasing the movement and the interest and the sentiment and the volume. So I have a great trading circle that keeps me up to date on a lot of these opportunities, the news flow, and can always provide feedback for ideas and help me advance as a trader. This gives me my framework, and I feel I build around that. It feels right. And now I can start playing knowing that I'm hitting the ground running from the front and not being way behind. All right, guys, 2026 is the year that you need to be set up for success in the trading world. If you want to build yourself a crew of other like-minded people that are trying to do the same things, you can also hit that Linktree account below. And I have a free Discord channel called the Risk Cabin where we talk a lot about things like this. And please, I'm just kind of starting to put out more content. So subscribing and actually tossing a comment down there and maybe talking about some of these questions would really help the channel grow. All right, we'll see you next time.